Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time for us to tell you all about something major happening at the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. They're having a financial literacy fair. And to tell us more about it is Lachey Drayton, who's Marketing and Events Officer with the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. Good morning, Lachey, and welcome back to Morning Barbados.
Hi, good morning, Tisha. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. And how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Tell us all about this financial literacy fair that's happening at the museum.
Okay, so actually, the Financial Literacy Fair is actually happening at our sister museum, which is the Exchange Museum. This is located in Spice Street in Bridgetown, so it's exactly opposite the Central Bank. We are having a financial literacy fair basically to educate persons about personal money management. If you come out to the fair, you will learn things about budgeting, saving. We're also having workshops on money management, financial investing, all the things that you would need to that you can implement on a day-to-day basis. But in addition to the workshops, we will also be having vendors selling locally made products because that's something we always try to incorporate, and guided tours of the Exchange Museum. We have a currency exhibition at the museum, exhibit at the Exchange Museum as well. So persons will be able to see currency of Barbados throughout the years and currency from both regional and abroad.
All right, so sometimes when we talk about history and culture and all that you do at both museums, and most certainly we're going to focus a little bit, as you mentioned, on the Exchange Museum where it will be taking place, people don't necessarily see the connect with financial literacy. So it's interesting that you're going to make that connection because I'm told there will also be, you mentioned it too, some guided tours as an added feature of what will be happening. Talk to us about those guided tours and what they will entail. Are you,
Okay.
is it of the entire museum? Are you focusing on specific things?
So the guided tours actually will be of the entire Exchange Museum. Persons will be able to see, as I mentioned before, we have an exhibit on currency at the Exchange Museum. We also focus on trade and early business in Barbados, education, and the final exhibit at the Exchange Museum focuses on Freemasonry. So when you come out in between workshops, you can decide to go and have a guided tour of the Exchange Museum where you'll be able to ask questions and learn something while having fun, waiting for the next workshop.
All right, so let's talk a little bit now about the areas that you're going to be covering and the speakers who will be a part of the presentation.
Right. So some of the areas that we will be covering, like I mentioned before, is budgeting and money management. We'll be talking about insurance, informing persons as to why insurance is important and why you should have it. We will also give persons tips on managing credit wisely, retirement and estate planning. You know, it's never too early to start your planning for retirement and for your estate. That's very important. What is very close to my heart actually is the mortgage planning, which will give persons information as to how they can own a piece of the rock, because a lot of people want to own a piece of the rock but they don't even know how to go about it. So we will have a workshop just focus on that, and we will also have a workshop focus on financial planning and investing. Beautiful things about these workshops is that you will be able to, you're not only coming to listen, but you will have an opportunity at the end of each session to ask the professionals in the field questions about the areas on which they are presented.
And you truly have professionals from all sectors of business and multiple areas across Barbados. So let's talk about the presenters because I think that's equally as important so that people know the presenters are people who truly know their stuff.
Yes, for sure. So many of the presenters actually are coming from our sponsors, without whom this would not be possible. So before I get to the presenters, I'd like to thank our sponsors: the Barbados Stock Exchange, Sagicor General, the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union, the Central Bank of Barbados, the Barbados Museum, and the Exchange Museum, and Starcom Network. So some of the presenters where we having are from Sagicor. We also having somebody from the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union, Miss Gwyneth Clark. She has been in finance for many years. We'll be having a presentation from BARP, from their president, Miss Marilyn Rice Boyne. She will actually be talking about the role that BARP plays in pre and post retirement spaces. We will also be having one of the workshops will also be done by Mr. Marlon Yard, who is the managing director at the Barbados Stock Exchange.
So lots to see and lots to do. I see a familiar face to Morning Barbados will also be a part of it. And she usually is one of those voices that is loudest across social media on money matters. Melinda Peter of Money Matter with Melinda. She's going to be looking at budgeting and money management. And that's so important. Sometimes when we hear the B word, budget, I know for me, that's always a challenge. And sometimes people think budget, like how do I do this? I don't know financials. I'm not good at accounts. I don't know how to do this. But some of it, is so basic. You just need a little guidance. So it's important that you are absolutely doing this. Now, there's a small cover charge to be able to be a part of it. Talk to us about how we can come out and be a part of it.
Okay, so there's just a small fee to come out. Adults are just $15. If you're a student with ID, you pay $8, and children under 10 years old are free. The event is taking place this Saturday, the 24th, between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And like I would have mentioned before, we would have some vendors. But in addition to the vendors who will be selling from candles, we have confectionery, jewelry, botanicals, a range of items. The Barbados Museum Genealogy Group will also be there. So if you want to do a little family research or get started on your family research, you can also come down and you can speak to our genealogy group.
Let's talk about the Exchange Museum. For those people who have not come out to see it as yet, I know that usually when we think museums, and that's where my head immediately went, to the Barbados Museum and Historical Society, and oftentimes we don't remember the Exchange Museum. So talk to us about that part of the whole museum experience.
Okay, so the Exchange Museum is actually the largest interactive museum in Barbados. What that means is that when you take a tour there, you can touch, you can feel, you can smell. There's things that make sounds, so it's a lot of fun. When you go to the Exchange Museum, on each floor, so we have two main floors, and on each floor we have exhibits which actually cover a wide range of topics. Our very educational and knowledgeable, our very knowledgeable tour guides are capable of giving tours of the exchange where persons will be able to see currency. You can learn about early trade in Barbados, and you can learn about the education in Barbados, early games which would have been played. You can learn things about CARICOM. There's just so much at the exchange to learn, and we also have an exhibit on Freemasonry. So if you want to debunk some of the myths about Freemasonry in Barbados, you can learn about the history of Freemasonry in Barbados at the Exchange Museum.
It's definitely something wonderful to do. Now, I notice that the financial literacy fair runs from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So can people come in at different intervals throughout the day to participate in particular topics, or are you expecting people to be a part of the entire presentation?
The beautiful thing about it is we do have different workshops scheduled to take part at different times. If you want to come and you want to spend the day with us, you are welcome to come. The first workshop starts with Money Matters Speak with Melinda, who will be speaking about budgeting and money management. She starts at 11:30. So if you want to come at 10, have a tour of the exchange, a guided tour of the exchange, and then join her for the first workshop, you are free to do that. But if there's a particular workshop you're interested in, you can also come and just see one or two workshops. But if you want to come to all the workshops, you are welcome to do so. And like I said, in between we do have things for you to do, because you can go outside, you can patronize our vendors, see what they're making. There also be our sponsors, the credit union, as the Barbados Public Workers Credit Union, as well as Sagicor will be outside. You can gain information, and there will also be some giveaways which persons can gain on the outside. So we encourage people to come down. It's going to be a very fun day.
So let's talk about how the presentations will unfold. We mentioned the topics. I know your particular area of interest is getting into owning a piece of the rock. You told us that. And I don't know what, as I look at the topics, I think my area of interest would probably be retirement and estate planning, because we know it's never too early to start. And you know, the old bones start creaking sooner than we would like. So let's lay out the areas that they will be covering throughout the day. You mentioned starting with Melinda. What comes after that?
Okay, so after that, we will actually be having a presentation about insurance. Persons just think about, insurance may not be important, but insurance is important. We'll be touching on things about that and the different types of insurance you can get. After that, we will have a presentation from one of the brand officers of the Barbados Public Workers, and she will be looking at tips on managing credit wisely, because sometimes we do get a bit carried away with managing our credit. So it's important that we get some tips and that we can implement real life tips that we can implement. After that, we will have the retirement session that will look at retirement and estate planning. And after that, we will have a presentation by Barb, like I mentioned before. Miss Marilyn Rice Boyne will be talking about Barb in pre and post retirement spaces. And then we will have my pet topic, which is the mortgage planning, and that will be done by Tara Caribbean. And the final workshop will be on financial planning and investing, which will be done by Mr. Marlon Yard, of the managing director of the Barbados Stock Exchange.
So it truly will be a rounded day of discussion, and I can't think of any one thing that anybody who's interested in being a part of it can really set aside. And I love that even in the session where Mr. Paul Gittins of Sagicor will be presenting on retirement and estate planning, the tag that goes along with that really captures my attention, because it says never too early to start. That can really be the theme for the entire financial fair, because I know that you're encouraging people of all ages to come out. But what we're talking about now, particularly when we talk about financial planning and things of that nature, is that we really need to start with our young people in getting them into that mindset about investing, financial planning, budgeting, credit, being aware of what's happening. Because I know there are quite a few people like me, once you become a young adult and somebody throws a credit card at you, you're like, this is not really money. This is a card.
Yes.
And then, I only say that until the bill arrives.
The beautiful thing about this entire event is that it will teach persons real life skills that they can apply immediately. It is important to plan for your future, and one of the ways to plan for your future is to look at your finances and how you can make them best work for you. And that is what the entire financial literacy fair is actually going to be about. So we want to encourage people to really come on down and speak to these professionals, ask some questions, gain the knowledge that can help you get to achieve any financial goals which you may have.
And that's so important. I'm so happy to hear that your partners and sponsors are also going to be present and, open to taking questions. Sometimes we go into these institutions and you're kind of into doing business. So you just go about your business, but you don't have that opportunity to really, pick their brains, ask questions, go behind the scenes, dig a little deeper. So this truly is an opportunity for people to come out and ask the questions that they've been hoping to ask all of this time. Maybe some questions that, some things that you're not comfortable with, because we kind of do what is happening and follow the status quo, but there may be some opportunities that are waiting. All you have to do is come on through, see what's happening, gain some new knowledge, and speak with the professionals about it. And you truly have a good mix of professionals who will be a part of this presentation on Saturday, June 24th. Let me tell you, lots of things happening this weekend from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And of course, it's at the Exchange Museum. It's a financial literacy fair. They're going to merge history and culture with learning about essential financial life skills. And they have workshops by professionals in the field of discussing money matters, inclusive of saving, financial planning and investing, personal money management, estate and retirement planning, mortgage planning, insurance, and debt management. I have one more question to ask you, Lachey. Do you think you'll be able to handle the crowd that will be at the exchange this weekend? Because I think a lot of people will come out to be a part of it, as they should.
Yes, we will be able to handle the crowd, and even if there are extras, we will find space for you. And if it is too overwhelming, we'll have another financial fair to accommodate the persons who weren't able to come this time. So we will make sure that everybody gets the information that they need to manage their finances.
All right, truly a wonderful initiative of the Barbados Museum and Historical Society, and not along the lines of what you would traditionally expect of the museum. And that's why I love the concept, because you're now tying everything together. As I mentioned, history, culture, trade, financial literacy, they all go together. So thank you so much, Lachey Drayton, Marketing and Events Officer with the Barbados Museum and Historical Society, for coming through and talking to us about this literacy fair coming up on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Of course, you can go to your pages online to find out more information, I would imagine. Or if there are people who have any further questions, can they call you?
Of course. So you can reach out to us at the Barbados Museum. We are at Barbados Museum on Instagram and Facebook, or you can reach out to the Exchange as well. They're at Exchange Museum BB on Instagram and Facebook, or you can call 538-0201. Or if you want to email and ask a question, you can email info@exchangemuseum.com, and someone will respond to you. So free to call any of the two museums for any assistance. And I just want to say thank you once again to our sponsors, because without them it would not be possible. So I want to say thank you to Sagicor General, Starcom Network, the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union, the Central Bank of Barbados, the Barbados Museum, and the Exchange Museum.
Thank you so much, Lachey. Wish you the very best for the financial fair coming up this weekend.
Thank you, Tisha.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning.